Hello, my friends. I guess I would be considered a self-proclaimed plant person. I gotta thank Mr. McLaughlin from my high school. Got me into the interest of growing plants and different species, horticulture. Well, as you see, I have lots of things I'm growing. Might need some help on a couple things. There's a lot of look-alike plants. As you see, this is common here in the Midwest. Actually, I have I have carrots. And you wouldn't believe this, but that's what's come out of it. Last year I grew carrots in this one spot. I got all this stuff around it to keep our doggies away. Because when the doggies are around, you know what they like to do is dig little holes. Ouch. Boom. But anyway, I'm going to unwrap this decollete as carefully as I can without destroying anything. And we'll have a gander at what I'm finding out. Like I said, these are everywhere in Illinois. You see this flower, they're just all over in the fields. But there are a difference. There's a difference here. I'm trying to find out if this is truly the real carrot plant in its natural state, the wild carrot. As you see the leaves, they kind of look like antelope things, you know, the little horns, just like a carrot. I had a rough time last year with carrots here. We got moles, and they love to eat the carrot before it even begins to mature. But there are lookalikes that are poisonous. They look the same, but they will hurt you and make you sick. I'm thinking, seriously, this species of carrot got invaded by a weed. I'm not quite sure the name of it. Maybe anybody can help me. But I'm going to pull one up just for the sake of pulling it up and destroying it from its life cycle, if I can. Oh, what do you see? That's exactly what it is. It is a carrot. Well, what do you know? Little education for you, us all. I think the entire plant is edible. Mainly the root is full of vitamins, iron, very nutritional. The leaves as well. I have diced up a few morsels, got me a cheek full of them. But I've never ate the flower. I've never actually seen the flower of a carrot before, until now. But just in case you're curious, all of these beautiful white flowers that you see down the country road may or may not be the carrot. You gotta look very closely to it. It also resembles another plant that I have growing, and that is basil. And we will come and look at the basil plant. What I'll do is I'll dissect it. Gotta dissect this bad boy and bring it over here. Now this is where I planted basil. Basil in its earliest state doesn't even resemble a carrot. This is what basil looks like naturally. But for some reason, I don't know if by genetics. See, I never went to school. I could care less about school because I thought I knew everything when I was there. And as all the teachers that know me from Georgetown Ridge Farm High School, I was a slacker, a stoner, I must add. But anyway, at this date and age, I know I don't know everything. There is a quiet resemblance. I don't know if I'm being invaded by wild carrots. But anyway, I've been dicing these bad boys up and putting them in our food. I'm a cook. I can cook very well. You can ask my wife. She loves my cooking. But as you see, where'd it go? I lost it. But at the very ends, the leaves look like the same as a carrot plant. Very interesting. What it does to your food, it just puts a little spark. Gives you a little spice in life there. But be careful of what you eat. I would not recommend going to the grocery store and buying spices, because this stuff grows wild everywhere in the state of Illinois, in the Midwest, probably all America. There might be a variety of different lookalikes, but there is a lookalike that is poisonous, and I cannot think of the name. I don't know. But anyway, this is a natural basil plant that looks similar to the carrot plant. Or did a UFO come in the middle of the night and do gene alterations? Maybe their government and their chemtrails have done something weird to cause this to happen. Or maybe I'm just an idiot and I don't know what I'm doing. But as you know, the flowers are different. These have very small flowers. The carrot plant has a canopy. And it also has, it's a very distinct canopy. It's quite magnificent, I must say. But unfortunately, my dogs, of course, they gotta smell and piss on everything that I try to grow. And most of the time, all they do is just upset me, because I put a lot of work in this. I gotta put on my beautiful plants. I gotta put an ugly old board up just to hold them up and keep the dogs away, so that they'll keep growing upward. I'll let you know if this here is, if basil is actually a carrot, or is a carrot actually a basil. I'm not sure. Excuse me. Now I go to the end of the yard here. Don't look at that. That's an invention. Here we have a different plant. It's very similar. I mean, almost exact. But I know it's not a carrot because I never planted it. It has a ball that begins and then a flower, not tiny flowers as the basil, as you saw. The basil flower starts at little tiny, like 2 or 3 little flowers, and it never starts from a bulb like this. It's different. It makes me wonder. It causes me to ponder on things, and it's somewhat maddening. Maddening. Everybody thought I was crazy anyway. That's probably why I was in special ed. No, I was in special ed because I was lazy. Now, as you examine these leaves, this is the basil, and this is just a plant that come out from the edge of the. Now you flip it over, you see a lighter green tinge, and the same as this. Exactly the same plant. Isn't it amazing? And as I pull it out of the ground, you don't see a carrot at all. Interesting. If anybody has any input on this, please let me know. I don't want to be found, lying in a fetal position in my backyard, wondering why. But it could be wild carrots everywhere, and I'm just too ignorant to know. And as you see, they're growing everywhere. There's everywhere, man. Dude, any info or input, please let me know. Because I got to find out why this is happening. Is it just happening in my backyard? Or is it yours too? It would seem to me, this being the carrot plant, as you see, it started as a ball. This one, the same way, exact, but this has the yellow common carrot. This one, it's hardly a carrot at all. Now, these come from a seed and they're offspring of a seed from last year. And I gave up on them because of the rodents. So, your guess is good as mine. I think I'll let it grow. I'll just let it grow. It's so majestic. Beautiful. Beautimus. Beautimus. No, I haven't been smoking anything. Just for your information. So the basil and the carrot plant, I guess they must be related one way or another. I will give you further info as I receive it. Also, in the same batch, there's also other edible plants. You've seen these little cheeklings, little flowers here. These are edible, as well as leaves. Also, this here is the dandelion. This is also edible. It's good palatable. The roots are nutritional. It's good. It's full of iron and vitamin C. The flower is edible once it's opened. I guess best cooked would be when it's young. Now this plant here is also edible, and all of these are growing naturally in your backyard. Actually, this here comes from the clover family. You've seen them as pink, and now also white. I think this is called, let me guess. It's related to the spinach family. It's very nutritional. It's just like spinach. It's like lettuce. Very good for you. Most people wouldn't eat it because they mow it every day. And also these here are edible. They are resemble in the same family as us. The leaves are slightly different, but yet still edible. So all y'all that say that you ain't got nothing to eat, you need to look in your backyard, because you got food growing everywhere. For sure. And as we look around in this wonderful garden of mine, you see another plant that resembles the carrot plant, but this is not a carrot plant. This is a flowering plant, and it is poisonous to eat. It's a lookalike for sure, but it is not a carrot. The leaves are different. They kind of look like antelope ears, but they're not. This is a totally non-native plant in the Midwest. It is a flower. It is a flower. This plant is beautiful. Wouldn't you say? Look at the bug. The bug even likes this plant. This could be in the elderberry collection. I don't think so though. These turn into flowers and then eventually fruits. It's really hard to tell because they look alike. From the elderberry, where you get elderberry wine or jam or berries. It's hard to tell at this point. These just started to grow here. This used to be a fire pit, and I turned it into a beautiful garden. Listen. The beautifulness of it all. Also, I have, there's also this plant. It looks like the other that I spoke that was edible, but this one isn't. This is the daisy. I do believe it's the daisy plant. But these you can eat raw, but I would suggest anything that is edible that you boil it first to kill off any toxins or animal feces. Not all flowers are good to eat. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a perfectionist of this quality of assurance. But I do know for sure. This here is a tomato plant. I would say cherry tomatoes. And as you see, these, you gotta go by leaves, you gotta go by flowers. This is not edible, I wouldn't think. This is not, for sure. These are edible, the seeds. sunflowers. This is at their infancy. They shall grow and make giant sunflower seeds. I'm not quite sure if you can eat the roots or the leaves or anything like that. I doubt it. But always be sure, for sure. This here is another tomato plant. There's a variety of tomato plants. This in here, it runs into the cherry tomato type of plant. It's going good. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing here is taking over. This plant here is also edible. The roots is full of iron. It's a sticker. You know, if you don't mow your grass, you'll soon find that it's full of all kinds of things that are edible. Not that you should start eating your grass, but just to let you know that if there's ever a food shortage, just look around your yard and you'll find something to morsel on. This here is, as you would know it, as the strawberry plant. Definitely. Unfortunately, I do believe because of the overgrowth of all the other foliage in this place, it did not have time to mature. There was 2 berries, one was munched on by some little munchkin, I don't know. But anyway, pray about it, study about it. This in here, it kind of looks like the basil plant, but look, it's totally different. I would not suggest eating this at all. I'd be scared to, because some of these plants are deadly poisonous. You eat a flower of the wrong kind, you never know. I've seen these all day long. They're growing on the side of the road. They're all over the place. I saw a mower man come and cut them down. I was telling my wife, we need to go back and slap him. They're so beautiful. It makes our ride to Champagne very pleasant. Here is another species of the tomato plant. This here is the beef. I don't know, beef something. They have gigantic tomatoes. These will grow into a handful-sized tomatoes. And also more sunflowers. This here's a sunflower plant that's almost ready to flower. And as I said before, you can eat the seeds. They're very nutritional. And I have this enclosed because I have dogs. They love to grub around and do their little thing. Well, that's my little tidbit of information. Oh, by the way, clovers, most clovers, you see them as already mowed, or you're going to mow them. They are edible. All clovers are metal. Okay, and this here's the corn plant. Don't know how it got there, but it's there. I don't know how. Possibly the wind. And over here is a squash plant. A majestic squash. I do believe it would be the acorn or the round green type of squash. I'm just waiting to see, and as you see, I have it all barricaded off so that the dogs will not get to it. And here's another spice. Some people think that a fern is a spice, and they're quite wrong. It looks like a fern, but it isn't. This is a spice. A fiddler fern is different, and it is good for you. You can eat it when it's before it opens up. But this here is the type of I'm not quite sure what it's called. I think it starts with an M. I'm not quite sure. See, that's where you don't listen to everybody's opinion on things. When it comes to plants and mushrooms, I did find one mushroom in the middle of the yard today, and I was questioning, is it good or bad? And I found out that it is a good mushroom. It was good for you. Here is another mushroom. It's dead. This morning, it was okay. But I do believe that it was a edible mushroom. I'm not quite sure. The other one was a puffball, and it's a common variety that you find in the supermarket. The little white mushrooms. For some reason they grow here. Possibly, I don't know. Dog poop. I got so much stuff growing, I just don't know what to say. It's driving me insane. I keep planting and throwing seeds here and there and everywhere. Now this plant is not edible. Just to let you know. Don't eat it. This plant, I have no idea what it is. I don't know where it came from. It's got little white flowers on it. I have no clue. If you can help me, let me know. I know that this here is a morning glory. It took some doing to grow these bad boys today. The season. You know, it's the leaf structure. The flowers are not edible. Neither are the leaves nor the roots. They just look pretty. Now, this here is I'm thinking. I am thinking it's gotta be a cantaloupe. I have lots of cantaloupe growing on the side of this huge ass pool. It keeps sinking. It keeps sinking. Oh my gosh. I've had to tear it down once. It was sinking on that end. Now it's sinking on that end. But it's cool. I don't care no more. Also, I have another rogue plant. These are also tomato plants, a different variety of source, and I don't think they'll mature because of these. I'm not quite sure what these are called. They are the offspring of a dear late friend that my wife took care of, named Dusty. I just call them Dusty's flowers. I have them all over the place. I had a sack full of seeds given to me by his son. We ride his horses. And, you know, he passed away last year. A very, very nice man from Westville. We called him Dusty. He was late in his ages, you know. But, actually, we'll probably ride his horses tomorrow. But I don't even know what they're called. I need to educate myself. But these are cucumber plants. They look similar to the squash plant, but not quite perfectly. Neither is it like of the... I have watermelon plants as well, somewhere in here. Where are my watermelons? What happened to my watermelons? There they are. These are watermelon plants. I don't know if they'll mature because of all the foliage. Really, I don't care. I just love to see green here. This yard used to be so drab and dead. Only one tree was there, that one. The one that will soon litter our pool with its foliage when it turns colors, as well as the neighbor's tree. What a wonderful spot for a pool. Ah, yes. I had to dig out half the yard. For sure. But anyway, these leaves and that pool. Fun, fun, fun. But anyway, I like to just say, hey, check it out. My very first cucumber of the season. I'll let it grow. I have a feeling I'm going to have many, because God has blessed me with the talent of growing, and the interest that I have in it. It comes rooted from my high school days, which I'll never forget. People like Mike Hotcher and some of my Facebook friends would remember him. He works at Forest Glen now, I do believe. The last time I saw him, he was there making maple syrup from the maple trees. And I believe he was in charge of something. I wasn't sure. That's where Frick and Frack went, our birds that we rescued, that a neighbor wanted to kill. Boy, they ate a lot of worms. I was out here every night getting another dozen or two of worms. It was fun. Well, God bless you guys. I see my angels doing good. My water is still falling.